as Clint Kubiak had his introductory press conference yesterday. It is presumed that they're going to draft Fernando Mendoza, but the conversation is about who is in their building, who may not be in their building for very long in the offseason. It is about Chris, it is about Maxx Crosby, and what are they going to do with the edge rusher that is probably the most coveted star that could be on the market this offseason?
Non-quarterback, right? Because there are some different storylines we'll keep our eyes on throughout the show today, especially in Pittsburgh. What are the Steelers going to do with Aaron Rodgers? So we'll keep our eyes on that, and we'll talk about that later in the show. But you're right, non-quarterbacks, Maxx Crosby is the biggest name that perhaps could be moved. And the reason why this is interesting and something to keep your eyes on is last week, Jay Glazer from Fox said that Crosby doesn't want to be there anymore. He wants out, he's not happy, and he's, quote, done with the Raiders. So that's one side of it, right, from the player's perspective. From the Raiders' perspective, yesterday, Clint Kubiak spoke to the media, Mark Davis spoke to the media, and both said that Maxx Crosby is a Raider. They want him to be there to be a Raider. And obviously, he's the best player on the team. He's the player that they market. He's the guy. He's the show that you go to Raiders games right now to go see. And then as we spin this forward towards the NFL draft, they have the number one pick. So when you look at Fernando Mendoza as the number one selection, if that's the way they choose to go, which is likely, they need a quarterback, best quarterback on the market, Super Bowl winning quarterback, Heisman Trophy winning quarterback from Indiana. You enter that player into the equation. You would also say to yourself, to the Raiders, like, it makes sense. Wouldn't you want to keep the best player on your team to be a part of something growing towards the future? But then I can also see the other side of it, where if you move Maxx Crosby in this offseason, the picks you can get back, I'm guessing multiple first-round picks, that would help a team last in the NFL, picking first in the draft, to build up towards the future. So I think it's definitely something that, it's interesting that was out there last week that Glazer said he doesn't want to be there anymore, because Glazer knows. He's a great reporter. Oh, yeah. He's in with the players. He's likely getting it straight from the player, right? So I think that's something you have to take seriously. But the organization is not just going to cave and be like, okay, here, send him off. They said on the record yesterday they want Maxx Crosby to be in the mix next season. I think the interesting layer here, too, is that according to Clint Kubiak, they spoke yesterday. They had a coffee yesterday. Maxx Crosby was in the building yesterday. He was working out. He was getting, he's also rehabbing an injury. Like, this is something that he's going to be working out in the offseason and getting treatment and rehabbing an injury. He had surgery and was away from the facility. And the reason he is disgruntled is because they put him on IR and didn't play him in the final game to get that first pick in the draft so they could secure that first pick. And he was upset. They sent him home, and he was posting videos playing basketball and jumping on a trampoline. Right, with a knee injury. When they said he had a knee injury, and then he ended up having surgery on that knee, and now he's going to be, quote, rehabbing this injury. He was in the facility yesterday. He was working out, and Clint Kubiak said all these things, and they love him as a Raider, and they want him as a Raider. I'm on the camp of the other side that you mentioned. Trade him. If there are rumblings that he doesn't want to be there, that's fine. You can work that out. Money can fix all problems. Look at Myles Garrett, right? He doesn't want to be there. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL. They're one of the worst run organizations in the NFL in the Cleveland Browns. Sure. Money can fix all things. You can win 4 or 5 games and have the Ferrari in the front yard of, the worst house in the neighborhood, but you've got the Ferrari in the front yard and he shines up everything, and it doesn't matter. He's making the most money. He's setting records in the NFL. You still got Myles Garrett. He's happy. He doesn't care. You can do that with Maxx Crosby if you want to. He's going to be 29 in August, so he's going to be 29 for the start of next season. I would say it's best for the franchise, in my opinion, to trade him and get as many first-round picks as you can. Get a first-round pick this year. Get a first-round pick next year. If you can, I don't think you'll get more than 2 for him, and you'll get a couple other things mixed in there. I don't think you're getting 3. I mean, he's under contract until 2029. I get it. So, whoever would make the move for Maxx Crosby, you're getting him for an extended period of time.
I know, but being 29, almost 30, I don't think you're getting 3 first-round picks for him.
Yeah, but pass rushers at that type of that type of player, that type of caliber pass rusher, they last. It's not like running backs where you use them up and then they're essentially disposable by NFL means, right? You just go draft a new guy. You can be a pass rusher in your mid-30s and still be pretty successful. I'm talking about the top level guys, Hall of Fame level guys.
Let's say
that's the path that Maxx Crosby's on. If he's on a path to become a Hall of Famer at some point.
He had 10 sacks last year, 7.5 the year before, 2 years ago. Or 3 years ago, he had 14.5. The year before that, 12.5. Okay, it makes my case even better if you can get 3. If you can get 3 first-round picks for him, then if I'm Mark Davis, I'm driving him to the airport. I'm taking him out of town yesterday because that sets you up for the future in a great way. If you can get 3 first-round picks, you're drafting offensive line, you're drafting great weapons, you're drafting another. It's hard to find another Maxx Crosby. It's easy for anyone to say, well, just draft the next Maxx Crosby. Just draft another guy that's going to get you double-digit sacks a year. That's hard to find. It's almost impossible to replicate that kind of production and just say, we'll just do that. No, you're not going to do that right away. But you can try, and if you're getting 3 first-round picks for a player, and this isn't the NBA or baseball or anything like that where you can say, well, is Maxx Crosby going to be productive when you're ready to compete? It's the NFL. Teams can make the playoffs in a year. The Raiders might be ready to compete in a year. But I still think if you can get 3 first-round picks for a guy and you're the worst team in the NFL and you want to set up your new quarterback for success, the better way to go is to trade him and build around a young quarterback. Set up your offensive line, build in the trenches, get him a weapon or two, and really, if you can have multiple first-round picks for the next 3 years, that sets you up for the future.
Yeah, I wonder if that's even on the table, though, because I think that's where if you compare it to the past, star pass rushers who have been traded in the past, Von Miller was traded to the Rams from the Broncos in exchange for a 2nd and 3rd round pick in 2022. But Von Miller was also a free agent after the season. So that's a lower price tag, right? Khalil Mack was traded from the Raiders to the Chicago Bears for 2 first-round picks. Okay. But also, he was going to be a free agent. So he needed a new contract immediately when he was signed there. So I think that I don't think you're that far off, because Maxx Crosby is under contract until 2029. He becomes a free agent in 2030. So, I guess my concern would not be based on the age of Maxx Crosby. I think he's going to be a great player for the rest of this contract. I'm guessing he'll get a second big deal at some point, or restructure. Someone will give him an extension.
Yeah.
And I mean, at that time, when his contract is up and he's a free agent, he'll be 33. That's still doable. You can still work with that as a lead edge rusher in the NFL. So I think it is possible you could get more than the 2 first-round picks for Maxx Crosby. And if you're the Raiders, that's a very tempting thing to do. I think right now what you would have to do is what Kubiak and Mark Davis are doing and what they said to the media yesterday. You got to play up that you're keeping him. Right?
Of course.
You got to play up and make other teams believe that Maxx Crosby will be a Raider. He's going to be a Raider for life. And make a team that needs a pass rusher give you more than you expect. Really impress you.
Yeah.
And if they come to you as the Raiders and say, hey, 3 first-round picks for Maxx Crosby, how do you turn that down? Because I think you're right on that. That, to me, would make a lot of sense.
You essentially have a month. I would want to do this before free agency. Free agency starts March 9th, which is the legal tampering window. Because you don't want to wait until the draft, because once free agency starts, that's when teams can go out and start paying guys and all that kind of stuff. I want to do this before. If I'm a team that wants Maxx Crosby, I want this done before free agency, before, if I'm a team that has over 90 million or 100 million or whatever in cap space, 60 million, whatever, I want to know where my money is going to go. I want to know what percentage of my cap is going to go out and be allotted to Maxx Crosby.
Right.
So if I'm a team that is a quote Maxx Crosby away, we saw a team like the Packers go out and trade for Micah Parsons, and if Micah Parsons stayed healthy, they could be playing in the Super Bowl. They could be in an NFC Championship game playing against the Seahawks or the Rams. Like, they were a player away. The Chicago Bears could have been, with that defense as bad as they were, we saw that defense show up in a playoff game. If they had Micah Parsons, or if next season they add Maxx Crosby, they could be a team that's a player away from advancing farther in the playoffs than they did this season. So a team that has a lot of cap space going in, I would want to do this in a month. You've got a few weeks here to get this deal done for Maxx Crosby. Now, if he's saying he's got a knee injury, he had surgery, but before that surgery, the dude's jumping on trampolines and playing basketball. Well, how serious is that knee injury that you had surgery on, you know?
I'm sick, right?
But he had surgery.
But I'm okay.
He had some stuff cleaned out. He had some surgery.
Okay. You know what that is? You call in sick from your job, but then you're living your best life on Instagram.
Now,
right? Like, you don't go to the office because you're sick, right?
You got the blurry background on your Zoom, right?
Yeah, but so you stay home, and then on your Instagram story, it's you at the lake house, right? Like, you're water skiing, and you're having a great time out in the sun on a beautiful summer day, but I can't get to the office today. I can't, I'm a little sick. That's what that is.
There's another wrinkle to this that I think we need to bring up.
Sure.
That the NFL is floating an idea that would extend the length of time that you can trade picks out from 3 years to 5 years.
To 5.
Right now, there's a limit on years that you can trade picks. So someone could trade 3 first-round picks.
Yes.
And that's the limit.
That's the limit.
Someone
That's
could
all you
now
can do
trade,
in the NFL.
If this deal goes, or if this new change goes through before the draft or before free agency, whenever they vote on this,
right?
You could trade. Now, that doesn't mean you could trade 5 first-round picks, but you could trade 3 future firsts, and those firsts could be spread out over the next 5 years. They don't have to be. Now, the Raiders would want them to be right away, obviously. They want the fruits of that trade to come to fruition right away. But that doesn't mean a team couldn't get creative and say, here's 2 first-round picks, a 3rd round, a conditional 4th in 4 years of this based on production. Because now teams can get creative 5 years into the future, the way you see NBA teams get creative 5 years into the future.
Creative or back themselves into a situation.
Whatever way you want to look at it, the GMs will say creative, and then the GMs that have to come in and deal with that mess will say backed into a corner.
Well, it's those individuals that then get fired.
Exactly.
That's how that works.
Exactly.
I mean that. And we've seen it from the NBA where it doesn't necessarily work. When you're doing that and you're bringing back that star player and you're giving up all of that first round capital, it almost never works. The teams that have success are the teams that are selling away those star players and getting back all of those assets.
Yeah.
That's the way that we've seen young teams get put together here in the last couple of seasons in the NBA. So, like, I don't think it's necessary for football. I don't need that in the NFL. So I understand that that's something that they're going to pitch and then to look at and see if you can go 5 years out to extend. Like, primarily, I don't think that is something that would really have anything to do with, like, Maxx Crosby specifically. But what this could do is that it will put into play quarterbacks. Because if there is a star-level quarterback and for some reason there's friction within the organization, now when you're talking 5 first-round picks, that could move a big-name quarterback.
Well, I think...
because now I think teams feel obligated to just try and make it work because of the way the structure is, where if you have a quarterback who's making that much of the salary cap, leading your team, you can't just give up on that situation. But if you say you got 5 stabs at a quarterback because you got 5 first-round draft picks coming at you.
Yeah.
Like maybe you would be willing to move off of a guy, a star level guy, and maybe we start to see more star level quarterbacks actually get traded. We don't see that often in the NFL.
I think the way it's going to look is that you're going to get more kickers thrown into this, and I don't mean like actual kickers. I think that you're going to get, like, for Maxx Crosby, you're going to have two teams that are willing to offer you, like, let's say this does go through. Two teams are bidding on Maxx Crosby. One team is willing to give you 3 first-round picks and a third-round pick in year 3. One team is willing to give you 3 first-round picks, a third-round pick in year 3, and a 4th-round pick in year 4, and a 5th-round pick in year 5. Like, that's what I think this is gonna be used for. Sweeteners in the deal. And that's what teams are going to be looking for. What sweeteners are you giving me? Because if you're willing to give me a little bit something extra down the road that you don't think matters now, but it's just a little extra sweetener at the end, that's what I think this stuff is going to be used for, because teams won't be thinking about that. I'm not willing to give up a first-round pick 5 years from now, but a 4th-round pick 5 years from now, I'm not even thinking about that 5 years from now.
Exactly.
So
right.
that's what I think teams are going to use this new rule, if it happens, to add sweeteners to these deals that I might not even be around for this. So what does it matter to me?
Right.
Here's a 4th-round pick 5 years from now to get me Max. If that's what's going to put me over the edge to get Maxx Crosby, then take it, because I might not even be employed by then. Who cares?
That's going to be the move for all GMs that are trying to save their ass.
Absolutely.
Like that's it. And if you're an owner, you have to call that out. You have to say, like, no, we're not doing that, because you might not be here. So you're not ruining my future.
Yeah, but it gets you Maxx Crosby. If you're an owner, it gets you Maxx Crosby.
Maybe it does.